Do you ever feel like you're just drowning in information? You're listening to podcasts, you're watching videos, you're reading all the books, but then a couple months go by and poof, it's all gone. If that sounds familiar, you're definitely not alone. The problem isn't what you're learning, it's how you're learning it.
Okay, that's a pretty intense quote, right? But it kind of hits a nerve, doesn't it? That little dopamine hit you get when you learn something new is addictive. It feels like you're being productive, but the knowledge is just gone by the next morning. It's basically intellectual junk food. It tastes good in the moment, but there's just no real substance.
So, what's the deal here? Well, the truth is, we've become collectors of information instead of creators of value. We're just filling our heads with noise, and all that leads to is more anxiety. The solution? We have to stop consuming and start building. We need a system, a way to turn all those abstract ideas into real things you can actually use, share, and be proud of. So, how do we break free from this trap? It all comes down to a fundamental mindset shift. You've got to stop thinking of yourself as a student with a textbook. Instead, you need to start seeing yourself as a builder with a blueprint. See, knowledge isn't something you're supposed to just store away. It's the raw material for whatever you're going to create next. This right here shows the two paths you can take. That left side, yeah, that probably looks pretty familiar, right? That frustrating cycle of learning something new only to feel like you're just treading water. But the right side, that's where the magic happens. When you anchor your learning to a real project, all the noise just disappears. The knowledge actually sticks, and you start seeing real, tangible progress. And this is why this is so important. This is the ultimate meta skill. I mean, in a world that's changing constantly, being able to learn effectively isn't just a nice to have. It is your key to freedom. It's the engine that lets you adapt, build, and really design the future you actually want to live in. Okay, so where do we actually begin? It all starts with purpose. It has to. You can't just randomly decide to learn a new skill. It has to connect to some bigger vision for your life. Think of your why as the ultimate filter for your brain. Seriously, when you have a clear purpose, your mind just automatically starts to notice the right information. It starts seeing the patterns that are actually relevant to you. Without that filter, you're just collecting a bunch of disconnected trivia. With it, though, every piece of information has a potential place in your grand plan. This is where you literally create your own personal roadmap, and it's such a powerful exercise. First, start by defining your anti-vision. I mean, everything you want to move away from. Then get crystal clear on your vision. Where are you trying to go? The gap between those 2 points, that reveals exactly what skills you need to learn and, just as important, what distractions you've got to cut out. So once you have your why, you absolutely need a what. And this is where project-based learning really shines. Instead of starting with a bunch of tutorials, you start by outlining a real-world project. And a project can be anything. It could be starting a business, building a website, creating some art, or even completely transforming your health. It's just a structured vehicle that helps you make real progress toward your goals. Let's break down how you actually do this. First, as you see here, pick a project that actually gets you closer to the goals on your life map. Next, do a massive brain dump. Get every single idea out of your head and onto paper. Then, and this is key, find 3 to 5 sources of inspiration you can emulate. This isn't about copying, it's about intelligent imitation. So if you want to build a newsletter, for example, go deconstruct your 3 favorite ones. What's their structure, their tone? From there, you can outline your own milestones and just set up a simple system to capture new ideas as they pop in your head. Okay, now we get to the magic. This is the step where you stop planning and you start building, even if you feel like you're not ready. Because true learning doesn't happen in a course. It happens when you're in the trenches, applying information to solve a real problem that you actually care about. This just nails it, doesn't it? You are going to hit roadblocks. You will get frustrated. But that struggle, that is precisely where the knowledge gets cemented into your brain. Passively watching a tutorial is easy, but actively searching for a very specific answer because you're stuck on your project, that's what makes it stick forever. And this is what I call the active learning loop. It's a simple but incredibly powerful cycle. You build until you get stuck, then you find the specific answer you need to get unstuck, you apply it, and you just repeat. This is just-in-time learning, and it's infinitely more effective than stockpiling a bunch of just-in-case information you might never, ever use. So what does a day of really effective learning look like? It's basically a 3-part system. First, you've got your build time, where you're actively working on your project. Then you have your focused learning time, maybe diving deep into a course that helps you get past a specific roadblock. And finally, you use your passive time, like when you're on a walk or a commute, to listen and just let your subconscious mind piece it all together. Each part reinforces the others. It's a beautiful thing. All right, so you've defined your why, you've outlined your projects, and you've started learning by doing. The final step is the one that takes you from being just competent to being a master, and that's teaching what you've learned. You've probably heard of this one, and it's a classic for a reason. If you can't explain something simply, you don't really get it. The act of trying to simplify a complex idea forces you to grapple with its core pieces, and it instantly shows you where the gaps are in your own knowledge. And right along with that is the protege effect, which basically shows that the teacher often learns more than the student. Just the act of preparing to teach forces you to organize your thoughts, to anticipate questions, and to find the holes in your own understanding. You really have to own the material. So where do you teach? You do it in public. It is time to completely reframe how you think about social media. Stop seeing it as just a distraction machine. Instead, start treating it as your public journal, a place to document your process, share your insights, and connect with other people who are on a similar path. And the benefits here are just huge. Sharing your work publicly speeds up your learning, it builds you an immediate portfolio that proves your skills, and it attracts opportunities that you could never find otherwise. You're literally creating proof of work in real time. Ultimately, learning isn't about consumption. It is about creation. It is the one skill that unlocks everything else. So the only real question left is, what project will you start?